families, welcome back to Makerspace Monday. In today's episode, I'm going to give you an update on what I've been working on in my makerspace for several weeks now. I've been making fabric masks, and I started out making them just for doctors and nurses, but that's changed a little bit since I started doing this probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. I've kind of lost count. It's kind of hard to even know what day it is sometimes. I wonder if that's the same at your house. But anyways, so I've been working hard on my fabric masks, and I want to show you a little bit of that process. So initially I started making fabric for doctors and nurses, and so all of my fabrics have 2 different pieces. So one side looks very different than the other so that a doctor or nurse knows which side has been exposed to germs and which side hasn't. And so I've just continued that pattern no matter who I'm making it for. I think it's important for them to know which side has maybe had some germs get on it so that when they go to wash it, they can always kind of wear it the same way. However, they are reversible, and once you've washed it, it's germ-free. So you kind of get 2 masks in one that way.
Empathy is feeling or understanding what someone else is feeling. I've seen people are feeling nervous and anxious, and that's why I am making masks.
So I've got my 2 pieces of fabric, and then I've got what's called my binding fabric. And after I've done all of the cutting, I'm finding that if I cut a whole bunch at once, the process goes much faster. So then I've got another mask here where the binding is actually ready to go. So to make the binding, I go to a really hot iron at my ironing board, and I take that wide piece of fabric and I iron it into a little bit of a skinnier piece with these folds. And you'll see in the next few examples what that looks like. After I've prepared all of the bindings, I'm finding that if I do all of one step and get a whole bunch created, I can make the sewing process go a lot faster. So once I've done all that, I actually stitch along the top and the bottom, and I turn my mask right side out so that the fabric looks real nice. And I'll show you on here. Then what I do is I iron in the pleats, so those are the folds of the fabric, and I pin them into place. Then it's time for me to head over to the sewing machine and stitch them into place. So I'll stitch those pleats into place, and you'll see right here I have a nice line of stitching. And once I get to that stage, I'm getting really close to being finished. But one of my least favorite steps is preparing the elastic. So I've noticed some people will say to stitch the ones that just go behind the ear, which is great for every once in a while when you're going out to the grocery store. But if you have to wear the mask for an extended period of time, like a doctor or a nurse might need to, having some straps that can actually go behind your head is really handy because it keeps the mask on and you're not messing with the ear loops. But that means I have to sew my elastic in place because having it tied and then having it behind your head gets caught in your hair, and it's just not very good. So I get all my elastic ready. So I've got all of my things kind of like an assembly line, and then I've got all my parts and pieces, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So I take that binding and I wrap it around and I stitch it into place, and then I get ready for the other side. So my elastic goes through the mask all the way around, creating 2 straps for behind the head. And then what I do is I stitch down that binding on the other side. So everything is nice and tidy. And then a doctor or nurse or family friend, whoever it might be, a neighbor, can then put this on their head, and they have the 2 straps behind, and it keeps it in place. So I mentioned who I've been making these for. Most recently, Veterinarian groups have been asking, and even some landscapers that I happen to have as a family friend reached out and said, hey, we would like to have masks. So right now, what you see in progress, what I'm holding here, is for those landscapers, and it's about 15 to 16 masks that I need to create before Wednesday. So I have been working really hard to get these masks out. You're probably wondering how many I've made. I have made and donated, as of today, 100 masks, which I did not think I would get that many masks completed, but I'm super proud that I've been able to help 100 people by providing them with a mask. And from here on out, now that we're going to be back in school and doing lots of work, I won't be able to devote lots of my day to sewing. So my goal is to then do maybe 2 masks a day that I can then donate towards the end of the week. There's a Saturday pickup for sew masks for Scentsy. And then I'll also try to put some of these simpler masks out on my porch for neighbors to be able to come and pick one up if they need one, if they're heading out to run an errand and feel like they'd like to have a mask to wear. So that's what I've been up to. There is no idea to share for you to try at home this week. But what I do want you to do this week is hop into Google Classroom, check out the lessons, have a fabulous week of learning, do your best to get back into a routine. Miss McKinsey posted some calming strategies. I know we'll be needing to use them at my house as we get back into our school routine and embrace some more learning this week. So I hope you guys have a great week. I will be posting Mystery Reader every night. Bye, guys.